So if you own property in prime central London, you've probably been banking on one simple idea for a while now.
Oh, yeah.
That supply is just non-existent, demand is through the roof, and you can pretty much name your price.
Right.
But looking at the February 2026 numbers coming out of Property Week, it seems like that whole story is just completely fallen apart.
It really has. We're doing a deep dive on a report from Peter Herman Taylor. He's the MD of Lettings at Maskells. And he's essentially calling time on that whole scarcity argument.
So the party's over.
The party is over. He says if 2025 was the year the boom quietly ended, 2026 is the year the market gets, exposed.
That's so interesting because the top-line data might still suggest there's a tight inventory.
It does.
But what he's saying is that chronic undersupply is really just an excuse. It's hiding the real issue.
Which is that the tenants have changed. The whole profile is different. We're just not seeing that frantic energy from 2023 anymore.
No desperation.
None. The tenant base, especially at that super prime level, we're taking £10,000 a month or more, has become incredibly disciplined. The report says they're benchmarking hard.
And that benchmarking sounds like it's pretty ruthless.
Oh, it is.
It's not just about price anymore. It's about value. The source mentions tenants are just flat out refusing properties with tired finishes or slow management.
Exactly. I mean, the days of renting out a place with a 10-year-old kitchen just because it's in Knightsbridge,
those are over.
They're completely over. This is that flight to quality we keep hearing about.
So in a market where the tenant is perfectly willing to walk away, the product itself has to be basically perfect.
It does. And they're patient. They know if they wait, something better might come along. Or they can just negotiate really hard on a place that's been sitting on the market for a while.
And that sitting is where the landlords really start to feel the pain, isn't it? There seems to be this huge disconnect.
A massive one. You've got landlords who are just anchored to 2024 pricing.
Right. They think they can just hold out for that premium rent. But the basic math doesn't work.
It just doesn't. And this is where these void periods become so critical. Herman Taylor points out that landlords are stubbornly holding out for a price that the market has already rejected.
And in the process, they're eating, what, 3 or 4 months of vacancy?
At least. Which just destroys the yield.
Of course. If you hold out for an extra 500 quid a month, but the flat sits empty for a quarter, you've lost way more than you ever would have gained.
It's ego versus actual net income, and it leads to what the report calls stale listings.
A toxic property. Once it's been on the portals for too long, people start to wonder, what's wrong with it?
Exactly. So the view from the expert here is that the market doesn't lack listings at all. It lacks high-quality, correctly priced rental product.
It's a quality crisis, not a quantity crisis.
That's the perfect way to put it.
And that explains the forecast for the rest of 2026 then. He's predicting flat headline rents, but that feels like it's hiding a lot of drama underneath.
It is. He says to expect widening dispersion. The market is basically splitting in two.
So like a K-shaped recovery for rentals.
That's a great analogy. If you have a pristine, professionally managed property, you'll probably see stable or even growing rent.
But if you have what the report calls average or compromised stock,
you fall off a cliff.
Wow. Even in a great postcode.
Even in a great postcode. This is the big warning. A prestigious address isn't a shield anymore. The market is going to reward execution and punish complacency.
It's really a return to fundamentals. The free ride is over. The big takeaway is that pricing discipline and proper stewardship now matter more than scarcity. You have to actually work for your yield now.
Which, I mean, is how a healthy market is supposed to work, right?
Yeah.
The value has to line up with the price.
True.
The landlords who get this and, invest in a refurbishment or just adjust their price will be fine. The ones waiting for the boom to come back are going to be in trouble.
It is such a stark reminder that market leverage is always shifting. But it makes you think about the wider investment world. We've spent a decade hearing certain things are untouchable just because they aren't making any more of it.
And that applies to a lot more than just London property.
Right. If prime central London real estate, one of the safest, most scarcity-driven assets on earth, is suddenly this vulnerable to a quality check, what does that mean for other guaranteed sectors?
It's a good question.
Are we going to see this same flight to quality hit, say, private equity? Or even parts of the AI space? It suggests that in 2026, being hard to get is no longer the same as being valuable.
That's the question every investor should be asking themselves right now.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.